Kakalosh Boker or Shavua Tov Masechet Bava Metzia Daf Samach Zayin Amud Aleph 67A1. We're starting on the last line of 66B where it says Amar Rava. We're talking about Mechila B'Taut, which means Mechila that was done mistakenly, that they forgave. Havayativna Kamed Rav Nachman. I was sitting in front of Rav Nachman when he said that you agreed to me that if right now he came and he ate, that they're not going to take it away from him. Why? Because mechila b'taut is considered a mechila. Ubay leot ve'ona'ah. So I wanted to ask him, mitzad ona'ah, by a sale. You remember by a sale, there exists the concept of ona'ah that you can't charge more than a sixth. Ve'odik, and he paid attention that I wanted to ask. Ve'chazitan, and he showed me a re'ayah from Ailonit, as we're going to explain. Meaning he already saw that I wanted to ask the question, so right away he came and he brought the proof to it. Va'are ona'ah. If right now he came and he did ona'ah, that he has to give back the money. So it says the mechila betauti. So mechila betaut. V'lahavya mechila, and it's not going to be considered. Thank you. It's not considered mechila, right? So he says ve'odik chazitan ailonit. So we came now and we're going to see now about ailonit, the mechila betauti, that it's also mechila betaut. Why? Because when she brought in the nedunya, even though she gave it when she got married to him, it was done with a mistake because he thought it was a wife. And at the end, it's not going to be considered a wife at all. Remember, Nailonit is a woman that she doesn't have the signs of a woman, which means that, she doesn't, the chest area and the pubic hairs and all these things, and therefore she'll never have children and all these things as well. So therefore, all these things, we don't know what's going on. So the Gemara now says that by the Ailonit, right, it's a mechila b'taut, right? V'havya ditram, as we learned, hamema'enet, which is a ketana. You remember we said that a girl that was married off from the brother or the mother, so she could do mi'un. What does mi'un? She could renounce the marriage when she becomes bat mitzvah. V'shniya la'arayot, or the shniot la'arayot, which is basically the second category of, which is basically a prohibition midrabbanan to get married. It's not the doraita, meaning certain women, yes, so certain women are prohibited to get married to mina Torah. But then there's other women that you're not allowed to get married. Midrabbanan, Vailonit, en laem lo ketubah velo pero velo mezanot velo blaot. These women do not get not a ketubah. They don't get fruits. They don't get mezonot. They don't get the parnasa velo blaot. They don't even get that which they brought in is the nedunya. So it comes out that even though it was given to the husband as a dowry, but it was like a taut. It was a mistake, and since she forgave it. Mechila b'taut is mechila, like Rav Nachman. So here, this is a proof that even though if she brought it in as a dowry, she doesn't take anything out. That's it. It's a mechila. So says the Gemara, velohi, but it's not really true. Lo onah havet yufte. It's not a question from onah. Velo elonit misele, and it's not a proof from elonit. Lo nat yufte. It's not a question from onah. De lo yada dite onah de machil. Gabe, you didn't know that there was onah to be mochel. Meaning, if I'm going to overcharge you for a phone, Richard, you're not going to know, in order to say that there was a mechila betaut, you're not going to know. You don't know that I overcharged you at the time. And therefore, it's not that you forgave. You didn't forgive. And the Ilonit is not a proof to it. Because she wants that ki'ilu, that at least she got a name that she was married. Meaning, she wants to show that she got married. So it was worth it for her to bring in the dowry, even though she's going to get divorced right away. She's a married woman. She was a married woman. Meaning it wasn't that she was, how do you call these women that they stay not married for the rest of their lives? An old maid, or I don't know what.
Yeah.
You understand? Like, no. She was married. Huh? Yeah. No, she doesn't want that. She prefers to be married, that she was married, even though afterwards she was divorced immediately, threw her out afterwards. But it doesn't matter. She prefers to have that name that she was once married than not married at all. That's why it doesn't exist that concept of mechila b'taut. She was mochelet because it was worth it for her. You understand? It was worth it for her. Fine. Another story. There was a woman that she sold a man. Go buy for me a karka, a property from one of my family members. So he went and he bought it for her. Elmaleh, right? And the mocher told to the shliach, if I have money, I want to take it back. right? So basically, I'm selling you the property, but when I have money, I want you to give me back the property. So Elmaleh told him, At v'navla ache, you and Navla, right, which is the Kona, or Achim, or family members. For sure, don't worry about it. Meaning, you and this woman, this woman is a family member of yours. So don't worry, you guys are brothers. Ama Rabba Baravuna says Ravuna, Kol at v'navla ache, samcha date, velo gamar mikne. It was a smichut dat. And therefore, since it was smichut dat, he's not makne. Meaning, it wasn't the real deal. I was calming you down. So imagine Mordechai said, no, but when I want the money, I want you to give it back. Achim anachnu. We're brothers. Kilu for sure. Doesn't mean a thing. Worthless. Not even on the paper that it's written on. Yeah, no, if it was written on paper, it could be much worse. But here we're talking about there was a smichut dat, which means that it's nothing. Ara hadra, the karka is mocheret lemocher, chozer lemocher. If he does give it back, payday mai. Let's say, for example, what happens now if you're going to give it back, right? And he gives back the money. But what about the perot? What about the fruits during this time? Is that considered a bit ketzutza? Yotzim b'dayanim, or dilma kiavak bitavu ben yotzim, which means like this. Imagine right now I come and I sell you the field for $1,000. I'm just giving you that amount just that way it's very easy, right, to understand. I give it to you for $1,000, and I tell you, listen, when I have the money, I want you to give it back. So after whatever a year, I come to you, I say, here's $1,000, give me the field back. Right? Okay. So you give me the field back. And you actually agree. And you give me. So now 1 second. If you're gonna tell me then, right, that I have to give it back to you and everything's going like this way, so then it was like a loan. Because I didn't have money, I needed the money, so you gave me the $1,000 as a loan, and now I give you back the $1,000. Now, what happens from the fruits? Because if you ate the fruits in between, so that means that's like ribit. So the Gemara is asking, is that considered a fixed ribit? Because ki'ilu, exactly. Because if it's a fixed ribit, it's yotza b'dayanin, because back from the din. But if it's only a vak ribit, which means it's not a real ribit, but it's like the Rabbanan type of a style of ribit, because it looks like ribit, even though it was done as a sale and not as a loan, and etc., etc., etc. So therefore, it doesn't come out in bedin, because any avak ribit does not come out in bedin. So Amar Rav Ravuna says Rav Ravuna Misabra, it's logical to say ki avak ribita that is considered a avak ribit and it does not come out with bedin. V'chen Amar Rava, and that's what Rava also says ki avak ribit havu ve'en yotzim dayanin, it does not come out in dayanin. Fine. Says the Gemara. Now Abaye had a doubt, right? Why is it only considered avak ribit? So he asks, Amalei Abaye leRabba, says Abaye to Rabba, mashkanta mai. What about a mashkanta? Mashkanta is that a person is coming and he's doing it, right? Like a halva. And he didn't tell him about eating the fruits of the field or not. And now he went down and he started eating the fruits of the field. What's the halacha with these pirot? Which means, one more time, the guy went down to the field, but it wasn't an agreement beforehand that he's supposed to eat the fruits. But he went down and he started eating it anyway. So the question is, right, what type of ribit is this? So hatam tamamai, are you going to tell me that by a sale, it's mishum de lo katzle because it wasn't fixed? He didn't know. He didn't tell him, right, about eating the fruits b'torat ribit. So as long as he didn't fix something, so therefore it's not going to be considered fixed. The hachanami lo katzle, so too here by the mashkanta, it wasn't fixed. And therefore, even though, again, he's going down and everything, it's only considered a vak ribit. Or maybe, hatam zvine ve'achalva, there it was a sale. You sold the field. Here, the mashkanta, by the way, in Hebrew, is what we call nowadays a mortgage, Richard, just so we should know. But here, it's a loan. So here it's much worse. Meaning, are you going to tell me that everything has to be, it's because of it's fixed or not fixed? Here it's not fixed either. So even though he went down to the field and he started eating the fruits, at the end of the day, it's not fixed. Or do you say that 1 second, over there, the reason why it was only considered a vak ribit was because it was a sale. He sold you the field. Only afterwards does he come and he buys back the field for the exact same amount of money, and and then we had a question about the fruits. So we said the fruits is only going to be a vak ribit. But here, it's not a sale. Here, it's a loan. So what's halacha? Do we say that it's also a vak ribit? Or do we say no, that it's 100% ribit? 100%, because loans is much worse than a sale. Okay? So Elmaleh comes and he answers, Hatam tama mai mishum de lo katzle. There it was because it was not fixed. Hachanami lo katzle, so too it's not going to be fixed. Right? However, though, Amar Rav Papi says Rav Papi, Avad Ravina uvda Ravina actually did a maaseh and he paskined to do with the seller that he actually redeemed the field. He took it out, and not like Rabbi Baravuna. Meaning he considered even the first case, which was a sale of a land, to be considered a Rebbe Ketzutza. So Amar Morbered Rav Yosef Mishmed Rava Hamashkanta Be'atra de Mesalke. This mashkanta, are we talking about in a place where they actually take it away? Which means that the malve is eating the fruits in between, and it's like rebit, and you're not going to reduce it from the debt, because some people they do that, but they reduce it from the debt. Meaning, right? You come and you sell it to me, and then I'm like, how do you call it when you're deducting? Like you're paying little by little, so you're deducting. It's like a lease to own or something like that. You understand? Like your rent to own. You're paying the rent, but that rent is going towards ownership of it. So you're going down, or according to the debt that I owe you. So he says, achal shiur zuze. So if he already ate all the loan, so that's it. So imagine I lend you money, you don't have cash, you give me the property, and that property is paying rent. So after the amount of time that the rent pays off the loan, I have to give it back to you, obviously. So the same thing. So instead, the rent is like the fruits here. So he says, achal tvei, but now if right now you ate more, which means that you ate a little bit too much, or you took an extra rent, whatever it is, we don't take it out. We're not going to start looking from one document to another document. But if to do with Yitomim, if it's achal shiur, we take him off. But we do take it out. We are going to come and start checking from one document to another document. Meaning we're going to start, meaning by orphans, we always are much more careful with their money. So with a regular guy, we don't do anything. But if it's an orphans, we would have to actually come and we would, look into it properly, obviously. Okay? So he says, so Amar Ravashi argues and he says, Hashta damarta, now that you said achal tvei lo mekinu minefet, if you eat too much, you don't take it away. Achal shiur zuze nami lo mesalkinu mivigo zuze. Even if he actually took like the chov without the money, right, you're not going to take it away. My time what's reasoning? Saluke belo zuze, because taking away the malve, the lender, without the money is a puke minehu, is the same thing like taking away the fruits from his hands. Because at the end of the day, he didn't eat it as a payoff. He was doing it as ribit, and therefore it's considered a vak ribit, and a vak ribit you don't take out from with a bedin. Okay, and therefore the Gemara finishes off by saying, he actually did this with the Yitomim Ktanim, that they had a field that was given to somebody else, and he was eating the fruits, right? 67b, Kigdolim, and he actually passed like them, like the Gdolim, that even though he ate like the shiur of the money, he didn't actually come. Yeah, they don't get special treatment. He doesn't take it out of their hands. Why? Because at the beginning they were doing it like a navak ribit. They weren't doing it as a payoff, and therefore, since it was being done as a navak ribit, like an interest, but it was only a vak, it wasn't a fixed interest. So therefore, it does not come out with dayanim. Okay, until here we're clear. So Amar Rava comes and he says, all right, Amar Rava, the son of Rav Yosef, in the name of Rava. Hi mashkanta be'atra divinsalkem. We're talking about a mashkanta in a place where they do get rid of them, meaning that after they paid back the fruits, you take them out of the field. Lo nechul ele benechaita. So therefore, you cannot eat only benechaita. What is nechaita? You're going to deduct, right, from the debt the exact amount that you ate every single year. So this year it made produce of $20,000, and the loan was $100,000. So they deduct $20,000 from the loan. Now, if the malve was a tamid chacham, so therefore you should not eat, even though there's not isur meikaradin, because since tamid chacham always has to go above and beyond, so therefore he should not come and start doing these things. Because if you see a rabbi doing something which is a little bit even questionable, so imagine what the Amaretz is going to do then. That means the Amaretz is going to take it even a step further, and then he might do something which is 100% asur. You understand? So because of that, Atzur b'Rabbanan always has to be very, very careful with his actions. So says the Gemara, Ela b'maynechu. So therefore, how is a good Tamid Chacham going to even eat this? At the end of the day, how's he going to do this then? So he says b'kitzuta, with a kitzpah, which means that it has to be a fixed amount of time, as we're going to explain. Right? What does that mean? So he says, Hani this is good according to the mandamar that kitzuta is going to be permitted, but according to the mandamar, kitzuta is going to be prohibited. What are you going to say? To eat one was we said kitzuta is actually machloket Ravacha Ravina. One of them kitzuta said it's permitted, and one of them says it's prohibited. So says the Gemara, one second. Even before going to is it permitted or prohibited, what is kitzuta? Because I know Richard was going to ask the question, what is kitzuta? So first, let's understand what is kitzuta, and then find out what's going on. What is kitzuta? The Elmaleh that he says, Ad chamesh shanin achidna la bela nachyata. I'm going to eat 5 years without deducting anything. Mikam vaelach, from then onwards, shamin alach kule pere. We're going to come, we're going to evaluate all the fruits, right? Which means, right, and not just like a skum katsuv for the entire per year. Okay, which means here it says in the footnote that the malve is deducting from the debt every single year a certain amount, which is going to be a little bit less than the value of the real fruits. But kitsuta is only after a certain amount of time, right? Every single year he's going to take down the true value of the fruits. Okay, which means basically the question is, do you come and say, listen, for example, if the fruits was worth 100,000, I'm only going to give you 80, but I'm doing every single year. Or do I say, no. The way that I'm doing it is the first 3 years, I'm eating for free. The third year onwards, I give you the value of the fruits. But now if the value of the fruits was 100, I have to give you 100. I can't give you the 80 the way that we were doing before. You understand? So says the Gemara, there are those that say, Kol belonach yaita asur. Anytime that you're not going to start deducting, it's going to be asur. So what is kitzuta then? The Elmaleh that he tells them, you're going to eat to 5 years. So the first 5 years you do it, that you're going to start deducting, right, the fruits. And then after the 5 years, you're going to take the full value. And therefore, in every single year, you're just going to continue deducting that which you actually owe. So if there's no isur of rebit, right, in this case, and now again, there's the machloket. So manda asar bekamaita, the first one that said that it's going to be a suit in the first case of the kitzuta, it's going to be permitted in the last one. But according to the one that said that it's going to be a suit in the last one, so there, how are you going to be permitted to eat at all? So he says, Shari ki mashkanta de surah. It's going to be permitted like the mashkanta of surah. The katri ba'achi, that they actually write, b'mishlam shanaya ilen tepukara da bela kasaf. At the end of these years, it's going to come out that it goes out without any money, which means that the loveh doesn't have to pay back at all. Because basically, and therefore there's no chashash rebit, because it doesn't look like a halva'ah, it looks like a sale. And therefore, since it looks like a sale that he's buying the fruits of all the years, so therefore that's why there's no rebit at all. Because it's not actually like a halva, it's not a loan. I mean, even though it was really a loan, it's like more of a sale than a loan. Because basically what happens is that after these years, it just comes back to you. And that's all that you're doing. Rav Papa and Ravunu Mishua, the Mitzvayu. Rav Papa and Ravunu Mishua, both of them said, Hai mashkanta, this mashkanta, ba'ata de v'salke, in a place that they're going to remove the guy, em balchov goveh menu. The balchov cannot collect from there. Ve'ena bechor untel pishnaim. The bechor does not take double portion from it. Ushvit meshamata. And the shvit is going to come and cut off all the loans. Be'atra de lo mesalke, but if it's going to be a place where they cannot take away the malveh from there, a balchov can collect from it. The bechor takes pishnaim, and shvit does not cut off the loan. Basically, is it like considered still his property or not? That's the entire concept. Because remember, a bechor only takes double when it's something which is muchzak, when it's something which is in like it's yours, not that it's like fitting to be yours. Because even though technically speaking it's still yours, but it's only after a few years, whenever it is. So therefore, you don't take each time. So it all depends.
Why would the borrower that?
So Amar Morzutra Mishmed Rav Papa. So says Morzutra, the name of Papa. Hai mashkanta be'atar de mesalke. This place where they actually take away from the malve, right? In a place, in order to come that he shouldn't eat more fruits. Mesalke levafilu mitamre de abodia. They're going to take him out even from fruits that were already taken off the tree. So, for example, let's say you have dates that were already picked and everything. Same thing. He's not going to be zochenet. But if he already picked it up in the basket, so he did acquire it. But according to the mandamar, the kelav shelokeach b'shut mocher kana lokeach, that the utensils of a lokeach and the shut of the mocher is going to acquire it. Even if he didn't pick up the basket, he acquires it. Basically, this: if I go to Publix and I'm using their trolley, right? Or sorry, I'm using my trolley. Do I acquire it or not? If I'm in the possession, not in the possession, the property of Publix. So that's the question. The question is kelav shelokeach, the utensils of the purchaser, meaning like my bag, and I put the things that I just bought in my bag, but I didn't pick up the bag. So therefore, there's one shita that says that even though I have kelav shalokach b'shu mocher, I still purchase it, even if I didn't pick it up. So then it's mine, even if I didn't pick it up. But according to the mandamar, the other mandamar, that it doesn't help, I have to actually pick up the basket in order to acquire it. Because even though the basket was mine and I have the dates inside, if I didn't pick it up, since I'm in your property, I don't acquire it. So it all depends on who do we go like. Okay, if you go like the opinion that I don't that I cannot acquire something unless I pick it up, so I had to pick it up. If according to the opinion that I didn't need to, so I don't even need to pick it up, and it's going to be okay. So says the Gemara Pshita, it's obvious. Be'ata the misalke, in a place where they do get rid of the guy after he finished eating the fruits. Ve'amar, he says lo mistalakna, right? I'm not going to leave here, right? Not like what they do. Hakamar de lo mistalakna. He's saying I'm not going out. Ela be'ata de lo misalke ve'amar mistalakna mai. Okay, fine. So in that case, it comes out that he's going to acquire it, right? And he's acquiring it with money, even though technically you shouldn't do that. And you're not going to get rid of him. But in a place where they don't take him out, and he says, I will go out. What's halacha? Lemikne mine or lo? Do we say that it's going to acquire it in order that he can't retract? Or do we say no, that he doesn't need another Maseh kinyan, and therefore he can't retract whatsoever? So Rav Papa says that lo tzarich lemikne mine, you don't have to acquire it. And Rav Sheshat, the son of Ravidi, says, tzarich lemikna mine, you do need to acquire it from him. Meaning you still need to make another Maseh kinyan, because without kinyan, the words that I'm not going to leave here is not enough. And what's the halacha? Tzarich lemikne mine. You do need to come, and you do need to acquire it from him. So Amaravi says, Ezil v'aiti zuze la'achil. I'm going to go and I'm going to bring money, and you're not going to eat the fruits until then. Ezil v'aiti zuze, and you're going to bring it. Ravina says, achil. Right, the malve is permitted to continue eating. That means even though he wasn't paid back the loan, right, and they're not ready in the hands of the love, in the hands of the borrower to pay it back. Right, you're not allowed to eat the fruits. You're not allowed to eat the fruits, just like morzutra bereder money. Okay, another case. They wouldn't eat it at all, even menechaita. And Ravina used to eat menechaita. That means basically, again, we're talking about can you eat and then you deduct the fruits from the loan. So Amar Morzutra says, what's the reasoning why you're allowed to? It's like a steachuza. What does that mean? If you're going to consecrate your sadeh, your field that you inherited from your forefathers in Eretz Yisrael, you could redeem it. But then you come and you have to redeem it according to the cheshbon of the 50 shekel kesef for this certain amount until Yovel. Even though you're going to eat a lot of fruits, Amar Rachmana, the Torah still says, you still redeem it in 4 zuz. Which means, even though the value of the fruits could be much more, we're only giving you a fixed value. And that's how you're redeeming it. So there's the exact same thing over here. But according to the Mandaman said that you're not allowed to eat benechaita, he says, is considered hekdesh, consecrated property. And the Torah told you how much is the redeeming value, the pidyon. Hechal here, it's a loan, and therefore it looks like a bit. And therefore there's a huge difference between the two different cases.